The 100 changed the game last summer. It captivated millions, some for the very first time. And at the end of it all, after some pretty epic encounters, two champions in the Southern Brave and the Oval Invincibles lifted the trophy. Today, we get to do it all over again. The second year of the tournament promises to be bigger and better. And Georgia Adams, you're alongside me. You don't get to play today because your competition doesn't start for another week or so because of England playing in the Commonwealth Games. But take me back to last summer. We were just reminiscing, being at the Oval on that day when you got to make history as part of the Oval Invincibles team. What do you remember about it?
It all seems like a blur. What a whirlwind of a day as well. I remember vividly sort of arriving and the weather was awful. And there was all these talks of whether it was going to start on time. We were kind of sitting, having a cup of coffee, not expecting to be starting on time, and then being told we're starting in 20 minutes, get moving. So we were all running around like headless chickens, and we went from there really. And I think the rest is history. It was a fantastic occasion to be part of, and to go all the way and obviously lift the trophy at the end is a feeling that is quite difficult to put into words really, because it was just so magical, and the atmosphere is like nothing I've ever experienced before. Yeah, what did you love about the tournament most? I think obviously for us, playing at the big grounds was brilliant. Seeing the crowds grow throughout the tournament was just so powerful, and the investment that people were starting to make into the game, not just the women's game, because we saw a huge sort of growth and interest in the women's game, but actually in cricket in general. So many people I knew outside of cricket had never watched before or never really bought into it were going, actually we're watching the 100. It's so easy to follow, it's so fun, it's enjoyable, and looking around and seeing all the families, it was great that the kids had role models that were so close to them. It puts gender parity at its heart, and we saw the emergence of some real superstars of the future. I mean, you played with Alice Capsey for the Oval Invincibles. At 16 years old, on her debut at Lord's, she scored a half century off 42 balls and went to go and lift a trophy. And now she's at the Commonwealth Games playing for England. I mean, how fantastic a platform was the tournament for the growth of some real youngsters? Yeah, Alice Capsey is a prime reason why tournaments like this can be so important and so powerful for the growth of the game. She was the one thing I always remember about playing with Capsey was how brave she was. As a youngster coming in, she was fearless, and I was actually thinking I need to learn a lot from you. And she's now going on to represent England, and not just she's walked into that team and she's thriving, and that's what it's all about. Competitions like this prepare people to play at the top level, and in some ways they probably get bigger crowds in the 100 in the tournament. So the pressure's probably on a little bit more in games like this, so they're better equipped to play at the top. We're going to talk to you in a moment about how the competition evolves, how it can improve, and you've obviously switched teams despite being a champion last year. But we spoke to Sanjay Patel a little bit earlier. He's in charge of the 100s, and this is what he said about year 2 and building on the success of that opening competition.
Look, I'm hoping we can build on what was a fantastic year last year, and it can do its job to grow the game, and I'm sure we'll do that. We've got lots of brilliant cricket on show, we've got huge amounts of entertainment, and I think we're going to inspire the next generation to pick up a bat and ball.
Over 500,000 tickets have been sold, which shows there's such an appetite for this after what we saw last year.
Yeah, I mean, that's an amazing start, right? There's not a ball being bowled, and we've already done 500,000 tickets. The most pleasing thing about that is 30% of those buyers were female, and 22% were to juniors, so that's under 16. So we're going to have a brilliant family audience at the 100 this year.
Percent of people buying a ticket to watch cricket for the first time. I mean, that's at the heart of it, isn't it? But how does it evolve in terms of what you want to see from the competition this year? Yeah, it's such a powerful stat, and it's had such a powerful impact. So I think obviously continuing the growth of people buying into the game will be hugely important. And I think, to keep families coming and keep families wanting to come down, we loved interacting with the kids, and the feel and the atmosphere that it created by having families just was amazing. So hopefully they can keep finding ways of getting families down here. It's very quiet at the moment, but we know it's going to be a lot louder later. We've got the bands and the DJ booth. That was all part of it, the colour, the noise. Yeah. That was what made it so different, I guess. And you've switched teams this year?
I know, changed a different colour green this year, you know, big move, and obviously Southern Brave did really well. Last year they were our opponents in the final and probably the favourites in the final, so it's nice to be playing down here at the Ageas Bowl.
We're going to talk about the competition that gets underway a little bit later, so defending champions Southern Brave against the Welsh Fire. But first of all, let's hear from the Southern Braves victorious coach last year on his thoughts ahead of the start of this new tournament.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. I think the last one was amazing. Our boys really put on a show at the back end, and the fans really enjoyed it. I think, you know, each and every game that we played here was great atmosphere, and I'm looking forward to the same atmosphere. We've heard it's sold out as well, so unfortunately the girls are not playing today, but I'm sure, like, you know, once they come in as well, it'll be brilliant at the GS.
Georgia, you look at their squad and it's the core of the players that got them to the final and to win it last year. Can you look much beyond them for second season of victorious 100 celebrations?
I think they're definitely going to be the team to beat. Obviously they went all the way last summer, and I think they've managed to strengthen their team even more this year and got more depth than they did last year. So I definitely think they've got every chance of going all the way again.
Who else might give them a run for their money?
Yeah, looking around, I think the Oval have got a good team again. I think obviously Birmingham Phoenix have got Liam Livingston, who's quite an explosive hitter and doing well with the ball.
That was what sparked this competition, him and Imran Tahir. You look at that and people were just talking about them up and down the country.
Yeah, and with competitions like this, it's such a short format that, you know, you need your players in form, and the team that has got probably the best in form international or overseas will probably go on to do very well in this tournament.
Yeah, other names that we might see and other players that might break through, who should we be looking out for?
Well, I think obviously in the women's game, I think you should look out for Freya Kemp. She's playing for the Brave, but she's brilliant. And I think the men have got a young leg spinner who was in the Under-19 World Cup. Is it Rehan? He looks very promising.
I think
and
they'd
very
signed
talented.
him before they knew just how
much he was going
on
to do
that stage.
So it'll be, hopefully, I wish him all the success, and it'd be nice to see him get a game and do well.
And just finally, tactics-wise, I mean, we stood here and actually you didn't know whether you were batting or bowling at that point, and I said, well, how do you play this? And you said, I don't really know. Are you any wiser as you go into the second year?
I think we'll see players feeling a lot calmer this year. It definitely felt, as a batter in particular, if you faced a couple of dot balls or a string of dot balls, you felt like the world was crumbling around you. And actually, you have more time than you think. And we've had that in T20 at the start, and we've just seen scores go up and up. So I think people will be calmer and obviously have a better understanding of what a good score looks like this year.
It's funny, isn't it, what the big screen and the numbers going down and up and the bright lights and noise can do to the player out there. I mean, does it scramble your head a little bit?
Yeah, and it actually took a little while to get used to the scoreboard. The scoreboard is massively different from what we've ever known, and, you know, looking at it runs per ball rather than a run rate per over, it's small adjustments like that can get quite overwhelming in your head when you're out there. So it's just being able to strip it all back, take a moment and stay calm.
Just very briefly, we've just seen the breaking news about Heather Knight. Gutting for her to miss the Commonwealth Games. First time England have played cricket in it for a while, and she won't be able to play the 100 either.
Yeah, it must be absolutely gutting, and I know she'll be you know, so upset about not being able to play in the comp. And, you know, it's a shame in the women's comp, you know, to lose a player like that of her calibre. It will be a massive blow to the tournament and to her team.
Brilliant. Well, thanks very much for your time, Georgia. There's no point asking who she's backing tonight, because she's going to say the Southern Brave. They are the defending champions. They take on the Welsh Fire a little bit later. You can catch all the action live on Sky Sports.